I'm going to begin tonight because we're starting a new series tonight. And the series tonight is entitled Spirituality and the 12 Steps. It's one of my favorite series. I actually wrote one of my books based on this series. And so I really get excited about it. And the actual original concept of this series was developed in 1981. I'll tell you more about that in a couple of minutes. I want to begin by doing a reading from The Language of Letting Go, the daily meditation book. And I picked a reading from November the 28th. Back to the steps. Go back to the steps, go back to a step. We don't know what to do next when we feel confused, upset, distraught, at the end of our rope, overwhelmed, full of self-will, rage, or despair. Go back to the steps. No matter what situation we are facing, working a step will help. Focus on one, trust your instincts, and work it. What does it mean to work a step? Think about it. Meditate on it. Instead of focusing on the confusion, the problems, or the situation causing our despair or rage, focus on the step. Think about how that step might apply. Hold on to it. Hang on to it tightly as we hang on to our confusion of the problem. The steps are a solution. They work. We can trust them to work. We can trust where the steps will lead us. We don't know what step to take next. Take one of the 12. Today I will concentrate on using the 12 steps to solve problems that keep me in balance and harmony. I will work a step to the best of my ability. I will learn to trust the steps and rely on them as my protective from my protective codependent behaviors. I wanted to share that with you tonight because one of the things I talk about when I talk about the steps, and I love doing this series because to me, the 12 steps fundamentally are 12 beautiful principles that teach us self-love, self-awareness, self-discovery, a good sense of ourself. I'll kind of tell you a story about how this book that I kind of put together came about. I want to go back to the year 1973. I was 33 years old. And I was basically, I was still a priest back then. And part of my background was I was really kind of a little crazy person because I was trying to save the world. And I was really killing myself in the process. I ended up having a nervous breakdown. I ended up in a psychiatric hospital. While I was in the hospital, a doctor said to me, he said, Vince, I'm going to tell you something. I know you don't want to hear it, but I'm going to tell you. He says, you're spiritually dead. You have no idea who you are. You know how to function on the outside, but there's no you on the inside. You totally don't understand what we mean by spirituality. You have to learn to get in touch with who you really are. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't truly understand what he was talking about back then because basically I was a priest and I figured, how could I not be a spiritual person? But the bottom line is I kind of pondered that for a long period of time. And something happened in 1980, 1981. That's a story I want to tell you that basically kind of brought this into the light for me. In 1981, I dropped a lady off for treatment at a treatment center in Northeast Philly called Riverside House. After I dropped her off, I had lunch with the staff. And about 10 minutes to 1, Bill Paul, the director of the program, said to me, Father, why don't you stay and give the lecture at 1 o'clock? I said, Bill, it's 10 minutes to 1. What are you talking about? He says, no, come on. Give the lecture at 1 o'clock. What do you want me to talk about? He said, talk about spirituality. I said, okay. Back in those days, I said okay to everything. And so I gave a talk from 1 o'clock until about quarter of 2. When I was done, Bill came up to me and he said, Father, that was pretty good. Why don't you come back once a month and give this talk? It's really good for the patients. I said, Bill, I would love to. I have no idea what I said. And Bill said, I taped it. He gave me a copy of the tape. We had tapes back then, you know. And I know that some of the younger ones here probably don't know what a tape is, but it's a little round. Anyway, but anyway, he, he taped it, gave it to me on the way home. I played the tape in my car. He was right. It was pretty damn good. I got a lot out of it. I never forget that. I really believe that God works in mysterious ways in recovery. I really believe that we experience what I call God winks. And after I gave that talk and I listened to it, that talk became for me kind of a core root and a foundation of my beginning of my connection with the 12 steps. And that's why I kind of wrote that book I wrote and the articles I wrote based on the steps, because it meant a lot to me. So tonight I want to kind of kick the series off by talking about that one word, that beautiful word, spirituality. And then basically we'll get into the steps as the week goes on. You know, one of the things I really emphasize when I use the word spiritual or spirituality, I like to define it. The word is something that really comes from Latin and from Greek. And the word is actually spiritus actualis, which means an actualization of your personal spirit, to come to a knowledge of who you are as a person. And it's really interesting because the word itself has nothing to do with religion at all, and yet it's used by many religions. But Dr. Bob said something very beautiful when the founders of AA were putting the program together. Dr. Bob said to Bill W., Bill, remember, this is a spiritual program, not a religious program, that's open to everybody, everywhere, and every place. And always remember that, because literally, to develop our spirituality is to develop our personhood. When the early founders put together the 12 steps, and I really believe very deeply in my heart that it was divinely inspired, you notice how the steps are set up. The first 11 steps are for us to work on ourselves. The first 11 steps are for us to do our work, to come to a sense of who we are, to come to a knowledge of who we are. Then it says, having done your work, carry a message to others. Whenever you have the opportunity to do your work, then what you do is you carry a message to others. But work on your own self first. It took me a lot of years to finally wake up and realize how important it is for me to be able to understand who Vince is and really get to know him. So tonight what I want to do is I'm going to give you that concept of spirituality, but I do it in a very simple way. I like simplicity. I'm going to give you the 4 spiritual questions and the 5 spiritual principles. Now, I don't guarantee too much, but if you learn to live by these questions and by these principles, your life will change and you'll develop a beautiful sense of who you are as a person. And I truly believe that every one of us, no matter who you are, we are unique and a beautiful and a special individual created by God. And it's our responsibility and our mission to look within our own selves and be able to develop a sense of who we are, to come to believe that there's so much possible for every one of us. And I've said this over and over again, that so many people in recovery are what I call walking miracles. And so the 4 spiritual questions. I hate to do this, especially to the recovering addicts in the room. The questions are simple and the principles are simple. And I know how we are. As addicts, we love complicating everything. Sometimes I think we enjoy complications. But the 4 spiritual questions. Question 1, do you love yourself? The most unique, the most powerful question on the face of this earth. I never thought in my wildest dreams I'd be able to say, I have an opportunity to fall in love with myself, to truly build a personal relationship with myself as a person. And I know now how important that is, because I can't give love to anybody else if I don't truly have that sense of love or that energy inside of me. The second question, do you like yourself? Are you comfortable being you? Each one of us is a miracle. Each one of us is unique. Each one of our spirits are different. Each one of us is different from everybody else. And we all need each other, and we learn from each other. That's the beautiful part. And so those first two questions, to love myself and like myself, is to accept the reality of who I am, to be able to enjoy the reality of my own personal self, to celebrate the gift of who I am. The third question is, do I respect and do I honor myself as a person? You know, respect is a powerful word. And it's so important to respect and to honor who you are as an individual. Only until you learn to respect yourself can you respect others. And that's a powerful process. Because to me, respect is something beautiful, it's something special. And it's something we all have to work on within our own selves. And the last question is, do I care about myself? Do I care about this beautiful thing called my body? Do I nurture it? Do I take care of it? Do I honor it? Do I celebrate it? You know, I never thought I'd say this, but I really believe it deeply in my heart today, that my body is the vessel that carries my spirit. And therefore, it's my duty and obligation to honor it, to take care of it, to celebrate it, and to be able to understand the journey on this earth, to allow it to go through its changes as it changes in life, but to be able to build a relationship with it. So those four spiritual questions, loving myself, liking myself, respecting myself, and caring for myself, are the foundation of spirituality. To really go on this journey, and the journey that is a lifetime journey of truly getting to know myself, to love myself, and to honor myself. Then there are the five spiritual principles. Now, believe me when I tell you, they're very simple, they're not complicated. The first spiritual principle is three letters. The letters are D, D, T. Now, please, it's not an insecticide. DDT. Don't do the drug of your choice today. I just love this first principle. We only have to take care of ourselves one day at a time. Remember, yesterday is over. Tomorrow's not here. And so I have to live my program, work my program, and to live it one day at a time. And each day I'm on the journey of this earth. I have to be able to honor myself. And to me, I look at the five simple slogans of recovery, and they teach me so much about life. To live one day at a time, to live in the present, to be able to understand the importance of our journey, to be open to learn, to be open to grow. Every day is an adventure. Every day is a new beginning. Every day is something basic and fundamental. And if we just look at life that way, to wake up with a spirit of gratitude, even though you might be a little grumpy, a little groggy, but to wake up in a spirit of gratitude, to be given the gift of life for another day, so powerful and so beautiful. Now, will I do this day perfectly? Of course not. I'm human. So are you. I'll do some screw ups during the course of the day. Congratulations. I'll do the best I can do, though. At the end of the day, part of my 10th step, I'll be grateful for what happened during the course of the day today. That one day. To also learn the importance of, but for the grace of God. And that helps me never to look down on anybody else. To realize, but for the grace of God, I could be someplace else. And I learned that in many ways in my life. The second spiritual principle is 3 letters, PPT. Persons, places, and things. Part of my journey on this earth, part of all of our journeys, is to make sure I honor and put into my life good, healthy persons, places, and things. As I grow spiritually, I begin to realize I need to be connected and be around people that are healthy and are positive for me. I have choices. Will I make mistakes in those choices? Of course I will. But to learn and grow. And I know now, it's a beautiful thing to know I can't do it by myself. See, the steps will never work in my life if I try to do them alone and by myself. I can't. I need to be connected with others. I learn from the people around me. You heard me say this so many times in my life. I love recovery for one reason. I call it my connection to the human library. Every one of us is a book in process of being written. And your story is the greatest story on the face of this earth. And your story is being written every day. Every one of us. And when I hear other people's stories, I call it the human library. The greatest stories of all I learn from the people around me. The third spiritual principle is only 2 letters. The letters are HP, higher power. That third principle is one of the most important principles in recovery. To realize that I need to be able to connect to something greater than myself. A divine presence, a higher power, a God of my understanding. Whenever I look at those words, HP, I always try to look at it in the following way. And so tonight, I'm going to ask you to join a club. It's one of my favorite clubs. It's called the Higher Power Club. The 4 H's, or I call it the 4-H Club. Honesty, humility, humor, and healing. In developing and working on ourselves spiritually, we have to learn. And these are basically connected to the principles of recovery. We have to learn to be honest to the best of our ability, to be open. And that means to have a sense of humility, to keep learning, to keep growing. Don't ever have it all together. It's just a process. And I'm learning over and over again to be as honest as I can be for today. Nobody's perfectly honest. Sorry. We just do the best we can do. And every day, hopefully that grows a little bit more. But also we learn the gift of humility. It means I need help. I need guidance. I need direction. I need people to work with me. But also I learned to have a sense of humor, to laugh at life. See, spiritual people know that it's okay to laugh. It's okay to realize that we're on a journey. And sometimes it's not going to work. And sometimes, we're going to have some pitfalls. And sometimes things will be so crazy and so insane that all you can do is laugh. And I love being around people when they tell their story and they have a little bit of humor in their story. because humor is part of life. And the beautiful part about a sense of humor is you don't have to do it perfectly. We have to learn to laugh at ourselves sometimes too. Because, we're characters. Every one of us is. Congratulations. I love that term. We're all characters. Part of my recovery came from the South Philly group in Philadelphia. And boy, we had a room full of characters all the time. They were nuts, but they were fun. And we learned to laugh at each other. We learned to be open with each other. We learned to celebrate each other. And we learned to cry. See, we need to laugh and cry at the same time. And that's the sense of humor. And that actually creates healing. It helps us to heal. It helps us to grow. It helps us to realize that recovery is a process. It's a healing process. And spirituality really means that I'm on the journey of healing. I'm on the journey of growth. I'm on the journey of loving. I'm on the journey. And that's why I love the 4-H concept: honesty, humility, humor, and healing, the Higher Power Club. Whatever you choose to call your higher power, whether it's God, whether it's a divine presence, whether it's whatever it is, it's not important. What's important is that you talk to the God of your understanding, and that you ask for guidance and you ask for direction, and you know that you're on a journey, you're being divinely led, and something beautiful is going to happen to you. Remember, you're a miracle. Never forget that. I'm looking around this room tonight and I see all kinds of miracles. And miracles are what it's really all about. So we have to learn to give ourselves hugs and realize the importance of that. The fourth spiritual principle, G-O-D. Now that word has a lot of connotations to it. God is a powerful word. But in the program, we have a couple of meanings. One is good, orderly direction. Be quiet, listen, follow direction, be open to learn, be open to grow, be open to new things, be open to where you're going to be led. And sometimes, I got to get out of my head and begin to realize I need help, I need direction. Where do I get direction from? I really believe that the higher power sends messengers and teachers into our life every day. And those teachers and those messengers are there to help us with direction, to help us to realize who we are, to be able to guide us and be with us. We've been promised by our higher power. If I ask for help, I ask for guidance every day, I'll be led. And some of the guys in AA also took that little phrase, G-O-D, and they changed it into a group of drunks. I love it. All different types of ways we can look at it and look at life. Isn't life a journey? It's an adventure. You're going to have pitfalls, and people are going to come, people are going to go, things will happen, changes will take place, but we're on this journey. And the steps will take us on this beautiful journey. That's really what it's about. We have to follow direction. I'm going to tell you a story. Got to get a couple stories in here. I'm going to tell you a story. Years ago, we had a rehab in Northeast Philly called Riverside House. One of my favorite rehabs. It's not there anymore. I wish it was. But a long time ago, we had a gentleman that ran that rehab, and we used to call it Recovery Boot Camp. When you went into that rehab for 28 days, you had no contact with the outside world. They brainwashed you into recovery. You had nothing but program, 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. They even woke you up playing the reading from the 24-hour book when you woke up in the morning. When you went to eat, they read from the big book, from Living Sober. They literally took away all the toys. Today, you wouldn't, if they were still around, you probably wouldn't have cell phones and stuff like that, but it was a place to really concentrate on what's important. Do you know that over 60% of the people who went through that rehab way back then stayed straight after they got out? It's a powerful place. And they used to joke about it and call it recovery boot camp. But I loved it. That principle, good orderly direction. Listen, follow direction. I can I can remember going into the 4021 Club in Philadelphia. And some of the old timers, and when a new person would come in, they would say, sit here, be quiet, and listen. And listen and learn. And basically try your best. And that's all life is. You do your best every day. And that's where that last principle comes into play. It's a little word. I got to share the word. The word is S-I-N. May have heard the word. It comes from religion. The word is sin. Now, I'm going to tell you a secret tonight. Promise you I won't tell anybody, okay? There's only one sin a recovering person can commit. The rest of them don't count. See, we don't call them sins. We call them character defects. And we have step 6 and 7 to work on them. There's only one. To give up on yourself. Never give up. Keep coming back. Believe me, patience and time is what recovery really is all about. Will we have mental slips? Yes. Spiritual slips? Yes. We'll go through changes, but we have each other. We're never alone anymore. We're all connected. And that's where the beautiful part of learning. No matter what happens, if I make a mistake, if anything happens, so what? Come back. And that's why the most beautiful word that goes along with this is one of my favorite words in recovery: balance. Live a balanced life. Do the best you can do. The steps are something beautiful. They're special. But the steps are just trying to give us a guide to go within to discover who we are as a person, to begin to experience the joy of growth and the joy of living. And that's why I really believe very deeply that they are divinely inspired, that the higher power works in each and every one of our lives, whatever we call it, choose to call that. And I just want to say a word real quickly. I am extremely grateful to the founders of this program for giving us this wonderful and beautiful gift. Think about it for a minute. 39 beautiful recovering drunks got together at a convention and hammered out the 12 steps and the 12 traditions. Now, there had to be a higher presence there helping them along. Because boy, if left to their own design, I don't know where we'd be today. Thank God. Thank God. One of the greatest gifts that was given to me is a copy of the big book, the manuscript, the original big book. And I really share that with people all the time, just to see what people went through and how beautiful it is. And so I hope this helps you understand a little bit more about spirituality. Just try to remember, love yourself, like yourself, respect yourself, and care for yourself. Live one day at a time. Live in the present. Do the best you can do. Hang around good, healthy, positive persons, places, and things. Be honest the best you can. Be humble. Have a sense of humor. Heal. Make peace with the past. move forward, follow direction, and never give up. With that foundation in mind, the spiritual foundation, we're going to spend the next 3 to 4 weeks going through the steps. We're going to work on the basics and the fundamentals of the steps to help us to realize how special and beautiful they are and why they are a beautiful part of our life. I hope this helps you understand spirituality a little bit better. I know it helped me, and I know now, I hope to God, one day at a time, and continue on the journey. So let us pray. God, we come before you in prayer. We ask the God of our understanding, our higher self, our divine presence, to guide us, be with us, and help us as we go on this journey. A journey to understand the steps, the gift that you gave us. That you gave us through the people that helped us put it together. Thank you with gratitude and with love. Thank you for the guidance, for the direction. Give us the strength to be able to look within ourselves and work on ourselves and to celebrate the gift of who we are. Teach us to love, honor, to serve the gift of who we are, and to realize that you sent us on this journey of self-love, this journey of self-discovery. We come with gratitude and we come with love. As we come together as a family, we ask for your guidance, your direction, and help us as we now begin this journey, this spiritual journey of recovery. Teach us to realize and to honor those who have gone before us. We're grateful. Those who will come after us, we're grateful already. But we honor those who are with us today as we walk the journey and walk it together with you. So thank you for your guidance, your direction, but especially for your love. We pray every day, and we ask for your guidance and direction, and we pray for it in your name. Amen.